People hate change. We all hate change, which is kind of funny if you think about it because human beings happen to be the most adaptive species ever to live on planet Earth. Throughout human history, we've adapted to so many before and after shifts. Before and after Christ. Before and after the discovery of the New World. Before and after steam, gasoline, or electric power. Before and after radio, flight, television, or space travel. Before and after the 60s. Before and after computers and the internet. Before and after 9/11. Nobody likes it. Everybody resists it. But like it or not, ready or not, the world radically changes without warning, without preparation, and without our consent. And yet, we adapt. Like it or not, ready or not, our national culture shifts and changes on us. Values change, laws change, the rules change. Yet we adapt. That's the way it is. Everything changes and we adapt. We never go back to the way it used to be. We adjust. Kicking and screaming maybe, but yet we meet the challenge. We adapt to the new realities. So here we are in the midst of yet another before and after world-changing event. There was before the pandemic of 2020, and there will be after. We're just beginning to realize that the world changed on us. And just like all the other times, we won't be going back to normal. We will adapt. We will adjust. We will meet the challenge and the new reality just like we always have, just like we always do. The Jesus story is not about Jesus returning from death to the old normal. The crucifixion and resurrection are an entirely new reality. The book of Acts, indeed most of the New Testament, is largely about how the followers of Jesus adapted to that entirely, completely unexpected, largely misunderstood new reality, which is where we find ourselves now, in the midst of massive changes requiring massive adaptations. We're just starting to understand and realize that the world changed suddenly in 2020, and it isn't going back. The Spirit is calling us not to wait for things to return to normal, but to rise again into new life. As the church, we are called not to wait, but to lead the way. Jesus is calling us not to wait for the old normal to return, but to follow him into new ways of being disciples. New ways of being church. 2020 is not the end of the world. It's a new beginning, a fresh start. Easter, resurrection. So, don't wait for things to go back to normal. Follow Jesus today. Don't wait for us to start going back to church. Be the church today. Don't wait for us to start going back to church. Support your church today. Believe it or not, there are spiritual growth opportunities for you today. There are fellowship opportunities for you today. There are ministry opportunities for you today. People sheltered in place in their homes all around you need your encouragement. They need your prayers. They need your kindness. They need your generosity, and they need it today. People all around you need you to be a Christian in the midst of the chaos and the darkness and the fear and the frustration. The world never needed us to go to church. It has always needed us to be the church. And more than ever in our lifetimes, more than ever, the world needs us to be the church today. If during this season of pandemic you're having trouble imagining how to experience the power and the presence of Christ where you are, how to grow in faith where you are, how to be a Christian, how to share the love of Christ in the world around you, then let's talk. Call me on the phone. Email me. Text me, FaceTime me, Zoom with me, send me a letter in the U.S. mail, or come meet with me and sit 6 feet away from me on my porch. But for God's sake, and I'm not swearing, I mean this literally, for God's sake and for your sake, for the sake of the church and for the sake of the community, for the sake of the world, don't wait hoping that things are going to return to normal. The world has changed. The church all around the world is starting to adapt to that change. So join us in hearing the call to follow the risen Christ into this new world. Alleluia, Christ is risen. The Lord is risen indeed. Alleluia.